And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. What we're going to talk about today is something in semen retention that people call flatlining. Now, I named the title of the video When Semen Retention Doesn't Work. So let me explain what I mean by these two combined. Well, semen retention is basically that you abstain from having any form of ejaculation and basically abstaining from porn and masturbation, right? So if you do that over a course of period of time, I recommend 90 days, you're going to go through a rebooting period of time where you're rebooting your brain so that it actually can, instead of being like reactionary and your emotions being up and down, up and down, up and down, you can become emotionally stable. Now, obviously, during this initial phase where you're now abstaining from something that you've been doing continuously for years, every other day, every day, or 3, 4, 5 times a week, who knows how often you've been doing it. But once you stop, there's going to be issues. That's just how it is. And the issue first is going to be that you're going to be even more emotionally unstable. It gets worse before it gets better. So instead of having the up, down of horniness, then you're going to be up very quite high, in terms of horny, and your testosterone levels are going to be quite high, and you're going to be like, you're going to want to masturbate, and you're going to, obviously, it's an addiction. Just like drugs, just like alcohol, just like anything, you want it because it makes you feel good. It's like those dopamine spikes. And you're basically up there all the time now instead of being up and down, up and down, up and down. Now, at this point in time, you're quite like emotionally unstable up there. But it comes a time when that decreases and normalizes. And at this point in time, you're what they call flatlining. You feel at this point that you have no motivation, you have no desire for sex, you have no sexual desire. You're wondering if you're ever going to have sexual desire again. You have no desire to watch women, maybe not even to masturbate. You just like... And you're just down and depressed, and you're just like, what's going on? And this is the time when a lot of guys relapse and go back to their porn, masturbation, and ejaculation. But it always gets worse before it gets better. The thing is that what happened was that you became emotionally stable, but at a very low level. But at least you became emotionally stable. Being emotionally stable is way better than up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. If you're emotionally stable, that's something you can control. That's something you can actually do something about. Eventually, however, it always returns back to normal. But it takes time, and you just have to get through that initial phase of you feeling like life is horrible, life is difficult, and you just want to go back to those nice fuzzy feelings of masturbation and porn and ejaculation. But once you manage to get past that flatline period of time, then you can get back to normal and you'll be emotionally stable, but at a somewhat desirous level. Does that make sense? Like, you don't want to be at that extreme level all the time unless you're able to control yourself and put that energy into your goals. If you don't have a very strong, powerful, intense goal and you don't know how to control yourself yet, I don't recommend that you're at a very high level of horniness and testosterone and excitement and like, woo! Being all over the place. You want to be somewhat flatlining until a point where you can actually increase the desire. Well, the body does it naturally, and then you're emotionally stable at a higher level. Eventually, however, once you've learned to control yourself completely, and now we're talking about getting past those 90 days and longer, then maybe it's okay to increase your emotions to a higher level, because now you can channel that sex energy into something that is greater than just those physical aspects of life. Now, those are great as well, but everything in its time, everything in its season. Your main focus should be to create your empire, to create success, and use that sex energy to fuel that desire for success. Now, that is one aspect of the flat line. I just basically explained it, the definition of it, what people are saying about it. Me personally, I can say that I haven't really experienced much of it, and I'll explain why. First of all, I'm going to share something that was said on Reddit, and it was quite interesting. There was a guy who said, quote, "I believe there is no flat line." And then he's talking about people being depressed, and he was just like not really understanding what they were talking about. And then he said, when I fapped, so when he masturbated, I suppressed my emotions. My emotional development came to a halt. Since he started nofap, I started to realize how aggressive of a person I was. Those around me always told me how calm of a person I've always been, how I could get over things. I thought that my sudden temper was a bad thing. It wasn't. I was just a coward all the time in the past. So he basically committed to nofap, and he just started observing who he truly was and what he was actually capable of doing. So that's something that was really cool. And so he says, therefore, I believe that the flatline syndrome is an expression of boredom or suppressed sadness, even depression. Accept it. Those are your feelings. No one can take them from you. To feel is to be alive. But most important is, don't let your emotions take control over you. And so he basically says, start to read, start to write, lift weights, shave yourself, eat healthy food, quit smoking, quit drinking, etc. Now, I relate to that. I actually wanted to state on this video that there's no such thing as a flat line. However, there are people who feel that there's a flat line because everyone has a different process. Everyone has had a different kind of addiction. We're all somewhat different, even though we're all kind of the same. But I can tell you one thing that every flatliner has in common, and that is that their emotions are kind of down. They're feeling kind of lonely. They're feeling kind of depressed. They're just not on top of their game, and they're definitely not turned on. Can we agree with that? I have 3 things. The one thing is understanding the fact of what is going on inside your head. What is really going on is you're having like abstinence syndrome. You want the thing, and now you're just like, you don't want the thing, but you feel kind of horrific. The real thing that is going on right there is the loneliness. You're lonely because you don't have your friend masturbation. That was your friend. It was your companion. It was someone you could rely on. Someone that was there by your side whenever you wanted. Well, guess what? That friend is gone once you started committing to semen retention. And aren't we glad that that friend is gone? Because that friend made you depressed. That friend was in fact your enemy in terms of you creating greatness, in terms of you creating an awesome life for yourself. If you wanted to be lonely and depressed, then stay with that guy, masturbation, continuously. Enjoy life, right? Let's see what happens. Or you can actually choose to commit to semen retention for that 90-day period just to see how it feels like. You got to understand how that loneliness comes about. Because if you compare it to leadership, leadership is lonely. Being a leader like, it's lonely at the top. You got to understand that. Most people won't do what you're doing. You are by yourself. You are doing something that other people are not willing to do. And because of that, it sets you apart from the whole, like, from all of them. Which means that you're standing there all by yourself, alone. Well, fortunately, because of the Men of High Value channel, we've got a community. In this community, we can share our emotions, we can share our feelings, we can share our visions, our goals, the things that we want to desire in a community. And that community is the antidote for your loneliness. That's step number 1. Becoming friends, getting new friends instead of the masturbation friend, establishing new friendships with like-minded people who actually elevate your vision, elevate your performance, and elevate your excitement and happiness. And in some ways, you know, not in the weird type of thing, but it turns you on. Not sexually. I'm talking about that you have that sex energy, obviously, right? But just being around people who are like-minded, it turns you on to life. It turns you on in terms of your goals, in terms of your visions. And that's what you want. You want to be turned on about life. And that's what semen retention creates for you once you manage to get through that kind of abstinence period of like flatlining and like having that syndrome aspect of it. Second aspect of it is also the point of, you know, abstaining from girls for a period of time. Now, in the normal nofap community, very often they still involve themselves with women. Now, in some aspects, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's nothing wrong about anything in this world, right? You choose whatever you want to do. But in terms of this movement that I'm trying to establish the fact that you don't need women for a period of time. Just so that you've got enough time to create momentum in your life so that you are on a massive growth curve before you involve women into your life to kind of assist your motivation and also your excitement and happiness in life in general. But in the beginning, especially if you haven't gone through the 90-day period, like, just abstain from women. Just don't have sex at all. Like, if you're married and you're living with a long-term committed partner, it's different, okay? Like, because women need sex, in fact, a lot more than men do. Like, if you don't believe that, then try the 90-day period and say, hey, I'm not going to have sex with you for 90 days. She's going to freak out, okay? Now, we don't do that, exactly, because we're men and women need sex more than we do. So, anyway, the point is, put women aside for a little bit, a period of time, go through that 90-day reboot period, and then you can see and determine what you want to do in terms of girls and women in your life. And the last thing, which is the most important thing when it comes to flatlining, is the fact that you don't have a goal. If your goal is just 90-day period, I'm going to not ejaculate, that's not enough. You've got to have a goal that's not selfish. When you're thinking about a 90-day challenge, you're only thinking about yourself. There's no one else in that equation at all. Like, maybe eventually, I'm going to be more social and blah, blah, blah in the future. But it's very selfish, and that's okay. But if that's your only goal, it's not enough to drive you to make things happen in your life and to cause that upwards momentum in general. You've got to have other goals. Now, I would recommend a financial goal or something that has to do in your business, because that's normally the thing that kind of takes up most of your day and most of your thinking. Work takes up most of our day, and if it doesn't, it should. And if you've got a goal, a business goal, then you're always turned on. That's what we want. You're turned on about that goal. And if it doesn't fire you up, it's the wrong goal. So anyway, that is something that I tell my coaching clients continuously, is they need to have a clear goal. And actually, while I'm on the topic, if you want, I'm doing it kind of specifically for a short period of time now in the end of May. I'm allowing people to get a 45-minute free coaching session from me in order for them to clarify their goals, in order for them to get on track, and to also help them during that initial process of 90-day challenge. And if you want that free 45-minute coaching session, comment down below or write me an email directly to the email down below on that black thing. So anyway, the point is, in my opinion, there is no such thing as flatline. The only thing that's missing from your life is a community of like-minded, positive people to get you out of the years of negativity that you've been in, and so that you're not doing it on your own. You're becoming a leader, but that's the hardest point in time when you're lonely by yourself and you're doing something that other people are not willing to do. You've got to communicate with other guys who are doing the same thing and who have greater visions for themselves and that have positivity, and set a specific goal with a deadline, and you won't have that much issues with your flatline. This is the Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. I will see you again tomorrow.